Hello and welcome back. Today's video is something a wee bit different for this channel. It's all about being a beauty blogger on a budget, or generally just being on a budget. Now, my goal for this and my reason for putting myself on a budget, one, to get better control of my money, two, to become debt free, and three, to save for lots of holidays, trips, some travelling next year. Myself and my husband want to go and see more of the world, and we kind of want to do that debt free so that we don't have any guilt attached to the money that we're spending and all that kind of good stuff. Now each month I'm going to do a wee series in this, so each month I'm going to share different tips with you, all that kind of good stuff. First up, this month I have got 3 tips to get you started. Now first up, I am a very visual and tactile kind of person, and for me I like to see wee reminders on a regular basis as to why I'm doing this, and you know, just to keep me motivated. And first up I have this little card. So it's a little business card that is wrapped with something here saying I am debt free. So that'll be whenever I've paid off all my debts, and on this side it's a little reminder of what my debts currently are. Now it's really simple to do. I have an old business card and I've just drawn around that business card. I've looked up what my debts were, so I've kind of been doing it for a few months, so I have past of what my debts were last month. I've written that at the top and the date of that debt. I've then written down my other 2 debts, so I currently have a bank overdraft and a credit card, and that brings me to just under 4 grand of debt, which is a wee bit painful, but it's better than it was. I like having this because I can see what my debt was and what it currently is. I find that really useful because it's like, oh, I'm doing well, I can keep doing this, let's go. And that's fantastic for me because I just find it so hard to stay motivated and to not give in and buy the little treats for myself. I have minimal willpower, especially because I seem to be tired a lot, so that's never a good way to be. I have also another little card which I keep, and you could maybe have something similar to this. So I have a compass with a little map on it, and then the other side I've written myself some wee notes like be debt free, no more credit card, no more bills. So I've just stuck those on in cute little cartoony sort of post-it things onto this card, and that one lives with my debit card and this one just lives in the main part of my wallet. I find those really useful because, like I said, I get daily reminders as to why I'm doing this and what the main goal is, which is to be debt free completely and to have some savings. The second little tip I have for you is to keep a track of everything you're spending. Now we all dread the budget and managing a budget and all that kind of jazz. Now I used to try using spreadsheets and things like that, and they never really worked for me. So I've bitten the bullet and I have an every dollar account. So it's everydollar.com, and it's by Dave Ramsey. Now this is partially influenced by Dave Ramsey. I find him quite good to get me geared up and going and to take better control of my finances, if I can speak. He's an American chap, you can find him online. I'll link the website and everything all down below. But every dollar is a really nice user interface. So you can plan out your budget every month, how much you think you're going to be spending and where, and then as you spend from that particular, so say you have a grocery of £200 for the month, every time you spend something you add the transaction in, and that will deduct that from your monthly spend, so you can see how much you have left. I find this really useful just for keeping a track, especially in the first few months while you're getting set up. Your budget is going to be all over the shop. Do not panic. Just make sure you keep on keeping a record, and then you can see where you're spending more money and where you can maybe make some more cutbacks, and where you can maybe free up a wee bit of money. Just generally it gives you an overview of how you are spending your money. It'll be brutal for the first few months. Honestly, you look at it and be like, I'm just spending all my money in ridiculous places. But this is a really good eye-opener. It gives you a chance to really analyse what you're doing with your money and maybe to regain some of the control. I'm finding I get better control whenever I've said, this is how much I'm spending here and that is it. Nothing more. I really like, as they say on Dave Ramsey, telling my money where to go. So I'm gradually becoming better at that. I did have a few months of sheer madness between worlds and everything else. I had very high stress and minimal time to myself to do anything. But now that I'm sort of regaining control and I've got back on the bandwagon, it's really nice to sit down and do my budget for the month and to enter in a few of those wee transactions just to get me started, because I attempted last month and it was all over the shop. I massively overspent and it ruined I could have paid off so much more by now, but hindsight is a wonderful thing, and sometimes we have just really busy periods in our life. Another good thing with this is that they really help you focus on making sure you put away emergency cash. So every month I put away £100 emergency cash in my budget just as an in case, and it's working really well because we've just had another bill come through and I put £100 in savings, and then I put £100 just as a, oh, I'm wondering if we're due anything, and we are, which is really good. So that means that money will come out of there and I'll still have a bit left over, because obviously we split the bills. I still have a bit left over as an in case. So get your budget on, really think about where you're spending your money, and you will become more aware of how you're spending your money because you have to record it. It can be harsh, but it is definitely worth sticking with. So those are your first two. The third tip is to work with cash as much as possible. I have a cash envelope I keep my lunch money in. This sounds daft, but I keep it in the bag that I use for work, my backpack. I will take out £40 for the month, and that would be all that I will use to buy lunch, which means I have to be really sensible. I have to buy food that I can cook up for myself, so I'll batch cook chicken pasta pesto quite a bit because it's one of my favourite foods, and I'm delighted to eat that a large portion of the time. But I do mix up the contents. I'll add in some avocado, I'll add in some sun-dried tomatoes. You know, I mix up the contents. So if you're buying yourself lunch, see if you can maybe bulk buy something, make up a batch of it. Things like tuna pasta bakes, that sort of stuff that you can make at home. Or leftovers. I have leftovers on a regular basis for lunch, especially on those chillier days, because it was stunning yesterday, and outside today it's thick with fog. You cannot see in front of your face. That's the way the weather is at the minute. It's literally all over the shop, and I love a nice warm lunch on a chilly day. So having to work with cash, now that I come back to it, so having to work with cash again makes you much more aware of how much money you're spending and handing over, and you can literally just see it dwindle in front of your eyes. You're like, oh my god, I've only £10 to last me the next 2 weeks. Best be sensible. So it does make you much more aware of how much you're actually spending. It's so easy, especially now you can touch and go, your PIN pad, you can do it in your iPhone. There are so many ways to pay that you don't actually interact with the cash, that it kind of is hard to visualize the amount of money that you're spending on things. So I've done this for my lunch. I also do it for my toiletries. Just to stop me getting overexcited on the beauty products and spending all my money on beauty products. I set aside a certain amount of money and I refuse to use my debit card for it. It has to come from my cash, and if I don't have the cash for it, I can try using my Boots points, or I just don't get that item and I wait for the next month. Any money that I have left over from those cash envelopes, I will add to the following month, and I'll kind of take the amount that I had left over, so I had £3.50 left over. I'll put that into savings, and I'll just count that as £3.50 towards the £40, so I just subtract it. So I've got the £36.50 and the £3.50, and that makes up my £40 for the month. So it's a nice way of, you know, having a bit of money left over. It's very satisfying. It's only happened to me twice since I've been doing this. It's very satisfying when it does happen. So that is it. Those are my 3 tips to get you started. Have something visual to remind you of what you're doing. Set out a budget and actually interact with it and update it, and put all your information in there, whether you should have spent that money or not. Put that information in your budget and you can see how you're getting on. And thirdly is to deal with cash as much as possible. Cannot recommend those enough to get you started. It's best to ease into these things when you're starting a budget for the first time. Don't panic, you're going to be okay, but it will definitely help you become more aware of your monetary spending habits. So that is it. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. If you have any tips, please share them down below. Get interacting down there. What are your money saving tips? How to continue to be a beauty blogger and buy things on a budget? How to manage your money? Ways you stop yourself from overspending, things like that. Please share them down below. I'm going to be doing another video next month discussing some more tips and to keep you going. That's it. Thanks a million for watching. Please like if you liked, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Today's video is going to be a review of the Makeup Revolution Fortune Favours the Brave palette. Now, everybody and their neighbour was talking about